everybody, and welcome back to Let's Play Kerbal Space Program. This is episode 1 of season 1.0.5. My previous season sort of stalled out when we reached Duna because of reasons. Basically, the contracts are getting kind of repetitive and boring. Although in 1.0.5 the contract system has gotten quite a bit of an overhaul, so we'll be exploring that together. I'm starting up a new career here with my guy, and let's go ahead and go through the options. I started off with the normal base for difficulty, increased science funds and reputation rewards by 20%, just so the game doesn't get quite as tedious as it has been. I don't mind a little bit of tedium, but it was getting ridiculous. At the same time, I've turned my funds and reputation penalties up as well. You know, higher risk, higher reward. And I can revert flights and quick load, but everything else is disabled as far as that goes. Starting funds is default. This is a new difficulty setting that's available. The default value is 1. I'm turning it up to 2. Basically, if you decline a contract to get rid of it and get a new contract in its place, you're going to go you're gonna lose a little bit of reputation for doing so. So we'll go ahead and get that started. Start that up. And while we're loading here, this is filming live on my new show on Tuesdays called Trajectory Tuesdays, where I'm going to be featuring Kerbal Space Program, recording it live in front of my live YouTube channel. Hello everybody who's live. Adam Ryan has joined the channel, and Photon Man has also joined the channel. Hello guys, thanks for joining. We have Toad Note on here, who joined my channel a long time ago, and it was Kerbal Space Program only. I think Gmod might still be around. Definitely get your comments in there. I will respond to them when I can. But let's go over this a little bit, at least the first couple of lines. Welcome to the Space Center. Nice to meet you. I'm Gene Kerman, Flight Director, and your guide for this quick introduction. I'll leave the introduction to you guys. If you happen to be living under a rock and haven't seen what Kerbal Space Program is, it is a game where we are launching our little... we're starting off with a very basic set of tools to launch a new space program in a fictitious solar system called Kerbin. Basically, it's a Kerbal solar system. We're on the planet Kerbin. If I go over here to this building, which is the tracking station, we can take a look at our solar system. There's Gene giving us more information. There it is. The Kerbin solar system. All these places are places you can go to. They're fully represented planets with stuff hidden on them. Planets and moons. If we zoom into Kerbin, we see that Kerbin has 2 moons. It has one named Mun and Minmus. And here's our little planet of Kerbin. The only thing that's really different about this solar system from our real solar system is that Kerbin is 1/10 scale. So the solar system is about 1/10 the size of ours. The mass is all the same, so the amount of gravity is all the same. So we get to have some fun with some kind of toy-like rocketry. Yeah, it's like the real solar system, but 10 times smaller. This is the newest version of Kerbal Space Program 1.0.5. It came out just on Monday the 9th. Is today the 10th? That would make yesterday the 9th, right? And I'm going to go through the first 2 missions, as I always do, that you're likely to start in your new career. We'll talk about each of these buildings as we need them. We've already been introduced to the tracking station. That's where you can see all your galaxy or solar system information. The other really important building we're going to be using a lot of is Mission Control. It's this little guy hidden right here. This is where we get contracts to complete. So we're going to pick up 2 contracts. Gather scientific data from Kerbin and launch our first vessel. Let's read this blurb here. Give us a quick crew report before launching. It's fine if any of the lights on the control panel are flashing. Just give it a swift kick. And they'd also like us to officially start off the space program with a bang. A very controlled bang, preferably, by launching our first spacecraft. Those of you who have played the previous versions of Kerbal Space Program are going to be in for a treat, because 1.0.5 introduces a new way to handle the world's record keeping society missions. They're sort of automatic achievements that just give you money as you achieve them. So now we have our mission selected. It's time to build a rocket to complete this mission. This is Werner von Kerman, an homage to one of the most famous rocket scientists ever. So I'm just clicking on these parts and attaching them. You see they got the little green attachment nodes. They sort of snap together. And building a rocket. If I tap the X key a couple of times, I can change my symmetry mode for things that are mounted on the sides. Put these little fins on the sides here just to keep things nice and stable. Stick a parachute on top. And grab some of these goo canisters. These are little scientific experiments filled with some sort of mysterious goo that we don't know much about. Now, in our chat before, while we were setting up this episode, we talked about what we would name our missions that are based on the Mark I command pod, and we have agreed to call them the Goliath missions. So this is the Goliath Mark I, a very simple go up, fly a little ways, and come back down rocket. The only other thing that we need to do before we can actually even succeed at this is configure our staging. So this is our staging control. It counts down from the highest number to the lowest number. And so we're separating out the rocket from the parachute so they don't go off at the same time. Photon Man says he already updated to 1.0.5, but his game is updating again. I wonder if they have a little hotfix out for some bugs or something that they missed. But we're going to go ahead and launch this first mission. And there's a bunch of extra stuff we can do to sort of accelerate our start even further than normal. The first thing we're going to do is complete that contract that we have. Just recover or transmit any science experiment data from Kerbal to achieve this goal. So we're going to go ahead and get a crew report, where we record the crew's assessment of the situation. That's from our guy inside of his cockpit here. And we will go ahead and step out and get an EVA report. Now, right now we can only do EVA reports while we're landed somewhere on Kerbal. So this is the most precarious situation. But one thing you can do is right-click on the capsule and take the data that we've contained within and then store it again. And what that allows you to do is get back in with the B key, and we can do another crew report at a later time. But before we get going, we're going to do and observe the mystery goo. The goo doesn't seem to be doing much right now. This is just sitting there on the launch pad, waiting for something exciting to happen. I've tapped the T key to turn my stabilization system on to let Jeb sort of help fly the rocket. And we are going to launch in 5, 4, 3. Our rocket is going mostly upward. We're going to use a little bit of thing to sort of steer it to the right, so we don't end up crashing on the launch pad again. And there we go. We have rocketed up. Here's the view from inside the cockpit as we go screaming by. It's a tiny window that can't see anything. But we're officially flying, which means we can observe the mystery goo. The goo jiggles and wobbles as the craft flies. We can get ourselves a crew report. And we're above the Kerbal shores, so the shores look inviting, and you watch the waves roll into the coast for a little bit of extra science. I don't know if we got enough sideways launch. Alright, we're coming back down now, which means this is about as good a time as any to deploy our parachute. Whoa! Photon Man always names his first mission Genesis because it's the birth of a new program. That's actually a really good idea. I should name mine Psalms as I lament all my failures. A little biblical humor for you guys. Any minute now, this parachute is going to open. And flip our craft around. Hopefully pretty soon. Okay, there we go. Had me panicking there for a second. As we drift slowly down for our first landing, our very first mission, we have completed a contract, which was launch your first vessel. Very nominal launch. Now notice, this contract completed simply by going up. It was not required for us to come down successfully to complete this contract. Now that we've landed here, we can do some more stuff. We can, once again, EVA, take all this data, store it all, and aboard. And do another crew report because we're now on the shores of Kerbal as opposed to the launch pad. And since we're on the shores of Kerbal and landed, we'll do this last mystery goo observation. The goo accumulates near the water-facing side of the container. It's a very interesting clue about this mysterious goo that we've found. Seems to like water. That's it for Jeb's flight. Let's go ahead and go over our milestones. We performed an EVA test, broke some speed records, we landed our first vessel, we broke some altitude records and land distance records. So we successfully returned to the surface. So all these very first achievements now are sort of automatic in the game. Every time you do something new, you get paid and you get science and you get reputation, and it's pretty fascinating. You don't have to take them as contracts anymore. So we'll go ahead and disband that message and recover the vessel to get all our money back. So here's a summary of our mission. We gained 47 science. We got some of our parts recovered, and our crew gained an experience point for the successful flight in new situations. And now we're sitting on 140,000 funds and 47.5 science. And we completed some more stuff. We have recovered our first crew from a mission, and we performed one of our first experiments at home. And we also got scientific data from Kerbal, which was worth another 9,000 something funds. So this game, you have a lot of different, you have 3 different kinds of currency. One, two, three. Funds, which is what you spend to build your rockets. Science, which is what you spend to get more upgrades for the types of rocket parts you can have. And that's what I'm going to show you now. Oh, excuse me. And that's here. Oops, went too fast. That's here in the Research and Development Complex. This is a huge complex. Right now it's kind of small, but we will eventually upgrade this building to handle new stuff. So if we go over to the Science Archives, we can see all the scientific experiments we have successfully completed so far. And there's all these filters and stuff to help us maximize the amount of science we can find. But right now, we're going to spend the science that we have. I'm going to go over here to Engineering 101, which gives me some new things. The SC9001 Science Junior, a Communitron 16, and a TR18A stack decoupler. And I'll go over the uses of those in the vehicle assembly building. A motorcycle riding by really fast. I have enough science to get stability, which gives us another type of decoupler, the TT80 or TT38K radial decoupler. This means that we can attach stuff to the side of our rocket and launch them off this way. Grab that. And I have to purchase all my parts as well. I now have 24 science left, which is sadly not enough to get any of these higher tier things. So we'll go ahead and work on our bases here. Basic rocketry. It's pretty awesome. And, oh, just shy for general rocketry. Which is a shame. Just that much shy. Survivability it is. which gives us a service bay and some more parachutes and landing things. And purchase those parts. So now we have some new parts to use for new contracts. So as soon as you unlock things in the science area, you'll be able to go over to contracts and find some new science, some new things that are basically contracts that you can do based on new capabilities that you might be able to accomplish with the parts that you have. We can do a focused observational survey. And to help us determine which one of these we're going to take, we're going to go over to the tracking station and take a look. But we are going to take one of these. Oh, perfect. We might be able to catch this one on the way up. Location site XKDWZ6. So now, missions. I want to find the one that has that. Here we go. X-Ray Kilo Delta Whiskey Zulu 6. Accept that contract. And because of the parts that we have, I fully expect that we should be able to escape the atmosphere. As our other contracts. So here's our 2 active contracts. We need to test our newly acquired capabilities with a focused survey of Kerbal. Go to the designated site for observational reports. Below 16,700 meters. And this one is, administration says that legally we cannot call ourselves a space program without actually going to space. I love it. Oh my gosh. So these 2 missions have actually given us a cash advance to help complete them. It's now time to build a space-capable rocket. But the first thing I'm going to do, since we're actually headed into space in this particular mission, is upgrade my astronaut complex for 90,000 funds. And this 90,000 funds allows our Kerbals, not only can we have more Kerbals on missions at once, but our Kerbals can EVA in any situation as opposed to just being landed on the ground. So we're going to grab that. And then build a new rocket. This is going to be the Goliath Mark II. You can still use the same command pod here. But we're going to configure things quite differently now. The first thing I'm going to do is go over here to Structural and get one of these stack decouplers. So this allows me to separate out this recovery stage from everything that's going to be underneath it. And we'll put a bunch of these fuel tanks down. 2, 4, 8. Sure, why not? We have our Reliant liquid fuel engine, which is a... So these fuel tanks that I added are all filled with liquid fuel and oxidizer, which is your basic rocket stuff. Over here in the engines, we have a Reliant engine, which uses liquid fuel and oxidizer. And then we have these solid rocket boosters. So I can put another stage down here. Stick one of these guys on the bottom. And put a couple right here. Like so. Now we need to make this all look nice. Aerodynamic nose cones. Probably don't need fin stabilizers that large. So I'm going to go ahead and go with 4 by symmetry. And attach. I'm going to rethink my life. I'm not going to worry about this lower stage. That'll be more problematic than I want to worry about. Stop it. There. And tear this whole thing off. Alright, that should be enough rocket I think, to really reach space. So now we go through and review all of our staging. What we have here is these rocket boosters go first. The next stage is going to be this main engine, and those two things decouple, which is exactly what I want. And then later on, this will decouple, and later on in that, we'll activate our parachute and come down nice and safe. We do have more science to bring with us. Forgot about that. Aerodynamics? No. Utility? Service bay, yes. So this service bay is where we can hide stuff outside of the airstream and keep it nice and safe from both heat and drag. So we're going to throw in 2 of these mystery goo containers to take with us along the way. Yeah. Hopefully that's everything we need. If not, we can always try again. We should have more money after completing this. So what's our contracts? Take a crew report below 16,700 meters at that one site. That might be rough. We might not be able to get that on this launch, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and get our second launch done. Okay. We are going in 3, 2, 1, blast off. I'm going to push my rocket as best I can to the right. No, to the other right. These solid fuel boosters are fighting me pretty hard here. But we're going to get rid of them in just a bit. Goodbye. And we're going to throttle way down, because I need to actually tip over. Some. Not a lot, just some. Tip over this way. More, more, more. I guess it doesn't really matter all that much. There we go. That ought to do. I'm just going to burn myself straight up and out. I don't even care. We're going to get as much height and speed as we possibly can. Okay, we don't need that much height and speed. We have more than half our fuel left. Breaking some altitude records and things. So now we're just coasting up. We're actually going to be going pretty high into the into orbit. What I should do is do some bad flying. I'm going to face the horizon. Now that we're in the upper atmosphere, though, I'm going to open this up and observe one of my mystery goos before I lose the opportunity. Okay. Go ahead and close that. Full power. I'm just going to push this thing out that way. By burning towards the horizon. And I'll just do that until my fuel runs out. What that should do is give me plenty of time to play in space. There we go. We've burned up all of our fuel. Shut down the engines and let's take a look. So for mission number 2, we've reached space. We're going to observe some mystery goo. The goo seems to have clumped into a sphere. It also appears to become brittle. And we're in the upper atmosphere. I didn't actually review this data. The goo seems to be getting very cold now. Alright. We're in space, so I'm going to observe the materials bay. The microgravity has greatly affected the growth of crystalline structures. Loose objects are also flying around the bay in a very messy but fascinating way. And we're going to do some other stuff, like get a crew report while we're up here. It seems we are very much in space right now. The sky seems to be mostly below us. I should say so. And since we updated our, we upgraded the NASA, our astronaut complex, we can now do EVAs while in space. And these will come in really, really super handy very soon. But right now, we'll just get some science from it. We're also going to go ahead and take this data and store it. And we have some time while we're up here to contemplate life and the universe and everything. And also to let go and go on a spacewalk. So I tap the spacebar to let go, tap the R key to turn on my rocket pack, L to turn my lights on, and we can fly around a little bit. Gmod's got to go. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Gmod. We'll see you next time. And we're going to fly over here to this materials bay and collect all the data. What that text is basically saying is that if we collect that data, the experiment becomes disabled, and we can't re-enable it unless we have a scientist on board, which we don't. We brought a pilot. So go ahead and, oops, nope. Collect this data here. So the controls are WASD and shift and control. Shift and control are your up and down. WASD, oops, are your forward and back. Just need to get this one. EVA report just above Kerbin's water. So we've got all the data from our physical experiments. Now we just need to find our way back into the pod. Down. Grab. Take all this data, store all of our experiments. That's fine. We can board. We had a duplicate experiment. We've already done that crew report. Okay. So we have finally passed our highest point in the orbit and are decidedly headed down. What I will do is fast forward time until we reach the upper atmosphere and then do a couple more quick experiments. Okay, here we go. This has to happen quickly, so we're going to go ahead and EVA. He hangs on. Get an EVA report while in the upper atmosphere. Get back on board and do a crew report. Safe and sound. Now we are ready to dump our dead weight and get back to my last stage, just like so. As we plummet back down to Earth, the capsule will heat up in re-entry and will be nice and safe. So we can go ahead and sort of fast forward into that. Here we are in atmospheric re-entry. You can watch all our instruments go crazy and see the heat building up off the window there. Those come screaming down into the atmosphere. Our capsule is getting awfully hot. There's a little heat bar here that's telling us its temperature. There we go. We're coming in kind of steep. The steeper you descend into the thing, the more heat you'll build up before the atmosphere can carry it away. Now at this point I'm keeping an eye on my parachute to make sure that it it will turn green. It'll turn just gray, I think. Right now, if I deploy it, this guy's a dead man. I have to wait till we're slowed down enough to deploy safely. There we go. Now it's gray. I can deploy the parachute. The drogue comes out, offering some resistance to help slow us down. And at about 1,000 meters above the sea level, or the ground level, I should say, the parachute will open. There we go. We have 6 bits of stored data from our various experiments. That was the satisfying splash of everything else we left falling into the... Go ahead and keep all this information. So our upper stage crashed, as expected. Let's go ahead and tap on the period key to speed up time for our landing. And we have successfully splashed down in the water. I don't think we've been in the water before. So let's go ahead and EVA, grab all these experiments, store them all again, and float in the water for a bit and get an EVA report. I don't think a spacesuit was entirely necessary to get here. Yeah, probably not. Board, grab a crew report from the Kerbal's water. So that's just a little bit of extra science that we'll be able to use. And they're going to review our stuff. We escaped the atmosphere for 42,000 funds to complete that contract. And we have more world records. We performed a spacewalk around Kerbal. We splashed into the ocean. Land distance record. Altitude record, and reaching space. So there's a bunch of funds from achieving those. And lastly, we're going to recover our vessel to get our little summary here, and this will wrap up episode 1 of my latest season. I am filming these episodes live, so if you want to tune in live, tune in on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time. With that, I'll say goodbye to the episode. Thanks for watching. Leave your comments below. Leave a like. Share the video. Subscribe to my channel. All that good stuff. If you're tuning in live, stick around. We're going to be doing some more recording. But until then, I'll say keep flying and stay shiny. Goodbye.